All right, so 7 p.m. Let's call the meeting to order. Let's see. Do we have a quorum to deal with the minutes?
Russ wasn't there at the last one, so if we'd like to hold off, we can.
Okay, I think we should. All right.
Sounds like a plan.
All right, and then so first up, we have 7 p.m. abbreviated notice of resource area delineation, 20 Sears Road. This is going to be continued. So let me open it up and then continue it. So in accordance with Wetlands Protection Act, Mass General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Southborough Wetlands Bylaw, the Southborough Conservation Commission will conduct a public hearing on Thursday, August 3, 2023 at 7 p.m. by our virtual Zoom meeting. The Commission will consider an abbreviated notice of resource area delineation for project located at 20 Sears Road, map 64, lot 2. The applicant, William DePietri. The project description is confirmation of wetland boundaries. And they're looking for a continuance to September 14th.
Yep, so 2 meetings away.
2 meetings away. Okay. So my understanding is Lucas has provided some feedback. There's some work to be done, and thus the 2 meeting delay.
Correct.
So do I hear a okay, do I hear a motion to continue to 9/14?
So moved.
Okay. Must be a second there somewhere.
Second.
Okay, all in favor by roll call vote?
Vivek,
Yes.
Barrington,
Yes.
Gregory,
Yes.
Osmano.
Yes. All right, so the next one isn't in 7:10. So what can we do between now and then?
We can talk about silly signs along Breakneck Hill
Silly signs.
that have our name plastered all over them. It really
What do they say?
bugs the hell out of me every time I go by.
What do they say?
No spray. I'm all
Oh,
for no spray. But can we put them in front of the telephone pole where they're not obstructing the mower? Guys have been doing a nice job mowing around town. I don't know if anyone's noticed that.
is that
It might have something
DPW?
to do with the new director.
Oh, with the DPW mower.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that too. Seems very proactive.
It's encouraging.
I mean, given all the wetness that we
Yeah,
had in
look,
July.
I'm not saying don't spray. I can go either way on that. It is
Yeah.
my front yard and they're pretty active sometimes. But at least put the signs in a spot that makes sense. Let's
Where
not
the
make
mower's not
another
gonna-
obstruction for them to move.
Yeah, well, the mower's not going to run into them.
Right.
Whose signs are they?
Stewardship.
Who?
Stewardship committees.
Oh, Stewardship. Oh,
Per order, the Southborough Conservation Commission.
that's us.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I guess we can just move them.
So last year, Mimi came in for something and wanted support. And I asked to get the signs moved and the thing mowed. Because there's nothing but bittersweet there trying to take over. And they did a great job. But again, they were on the other end of Breakneck Hill today, but you couldn't hit the farm while you're going by. It's a little surprising.
So they skipped it because of the signs, you think?
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, there might be a discussion, right, with the new DEP director.
Yeah,
So,
I think I'm hearing he's gonna ruffle a few feathers, so this will be interesting.
all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure the guy in the tractor does not want to get out and move the sign.
No, and he wouldn't. He's just gonna skip a little bit. He'll do some and skip a little bit, and that's not really
Yeah.
getting done what we need.
Yeah. So do the signs say do not mow? or
Do not spray.
do not spray.
Oh, we'd be having a louder discussion if it said do not mow on the side of the road.
Okay.
So maybe,
Maybe that's also something, Kevin, you could bring back to stewardship about placement of those signs along Breakneck, just to put them more in front of telephone poles when you're in that lane of travel, so that it doesn't block the mowers, so it's not in between them.
Yeah, we have a meeting Monday night, so I could bring it up then.
it'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah, I've noticed certainly with all the rain and so forth, there's been some areas in on the side of the roads where, I've got to go around trees and I can't see to pull out the intersections and stuff. So, I'm glad to see the mowing.
Yeah.
That's goodness. All
We can-
right. Go ahead. Who's gonna talk?
No, I was gonna say, we can move on to other more continued business if you want to start hacking away at those, if we wait for the clock.
Yeah. I was going to go talk about the mass housing request for comments for 120 Turnpike and 250 Turnpike. I don't know if everybody's had a chance to read them. Melissa, I thought they were excellent.
Thank you.
You get a gold star from my perspective.
Awesome. They're pretty, I really just outlined kind of the history of the permits that we have on record that I could find, noting if something was closed out or not. I think at 120, the one, we just still have that open DEP for the parking garage. They did a partial for landscaping, but not for the garage itself. And then just kind of outline of the comments, standard comments that we do during this type of project in terms of snow stockpiling, soil stockpiling, our standard comments about rainfall amounts and kind of adherence as much as possible with our bylaws. And then just pulling out some of the comments from past reviews about the site, just from recent permitting. So nothing crazy. It's a lot of just kind of basic facts. I know it's a lot of them, but a lot of just kind of the template that we have for a lot of the projects. I know this one's a little bit tricky because it has that weird existing stormwater system. So, that's just something that I kind of noted that the applicant needs to be aware of when submitting the notice of intent.
Yeah, I actually couldn't think of anything else to add. You even got to the point of the, dogs, pooping and Breakneck Hill Road, which
Yeah.
I did not know was an issue, but you even got that covered. So.
And I think stewardship committee is doing their own comments too, on top if they have anything else specific to Breakneck, but I know those are kind of the higher priority ones, the basic ones that we've been dealing with continuously, so.
Yeah.
I have a question. How, compared to like other similar projects like this that have gone in town and kind of looking, like reading the letter and the Lucas environmental response and everything, is this kind of standard? Are these kind of like the same things that come up again and again as you're kind of mentioning for these types of developments? There's like nothing that like sticks out as different?
Yeah, especially at this point, considering we don't have really anything regarding the stormwater proposals, it really is just what it looks like on paper. So really is just the basics and kind of the background of the site-specific things that we know about. But the rest of the comments really are just kind of things that we pull out almost in every application that we ask for, what kind of stockpiling, and things that are standard conditions in our wetlands bylaw or stormwater bylaw that, we just kind of commented on as a requirement or something that we would request when the application comes in.
Okay, great.
Anybody else have any input, commentary? No. All right.
Yeah.
So as far as I'm concerned, I would go ahead and ship them off. They looked awesome to me.
Great, I will do that for 120.
Okay. Okay, we're at 7:10. So the next public hearing is notice of intent, 10 Overlook Drive. They've also asked for a continuance to 8/24, our next meeting. So in accordance with the Wetlands Protection Act, Mass General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40 of the Southfield Wetlands Bylaw, the Southfield Conservation Commission will conduct a public hearing on Thursday, August 3rd, 2023 at 7:10 p.m. via the virtual Zoom meeting. The commission will consider a notice of intent for the project located at 10 Overlook Drive, map 66, lot 40 for the applicant, NALA Realty Trust. The project description is replace a failed septic system. So do I hear a motion to continue to 8/24?
So moved.
And I believe we don't have a DEP number for that either, correct? Yeah. Okay, so we have a motion to move. Second.
Second.
All right, we have a second. So all in favor?
Zulik,
Yes.
Barrington,
Yes.
Gregory,
Yes.
Passamato.
Yes. Okay, new and other continued business, because we can't deal with the next one until 7:20. So the restrictive covenant 84 Main Street discussion.
Did we want to do 250 Turnpike, those 40B comments? We only did 120.
Oh, I thought we did them both.
Oh, I didn't.
That's what I thought.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
I mean,
Okay. Unless there's
From my
other for 250.
so let's see if anybody else has any other commentary for 250. I mean, you even covered the fact that the detention basins that were structured as stormwater management basins are now BVWs. So given that fact, there's some extra oversight with respect to that.
Yep. And I think the real only difference between this set of comments, and the other ones, a lot of them are the very same in terms of kind of compliance with our standard, questions and reviews during the stormwater and wetland aspects. I think the only difference on this one is what Mark mentioned in terms of the recent ANRAD and just, the histories are obviously different and just kind of a little bit because we've had more recent in-depth about potential vernal pools, etc., which Lucas has also brought up in the most recent application in front of us too. So it's kind of staying consistent between, the two, because they are pretty similar projects, just in different kind of layouts in terms of what they're proposing at this time, with the information we have. And also just as a fact, I know at the last meeting, we had some residents that were concerned about drainage coming from Sarsonstone. And did.
Go ahead. You just
Yeah.
made me think about something.
So I did find some of the plans for the drainage at Sarsonstone, and what is labeled as a drainage easement on the plan that's currently in front of us is not actually where the outlet of that drainage basin is. That is actually just that 10-foot easement on that particular property that the drain easement is on. So if you look at Sarsonstone, it's actually, I think, a 20 or 30-foot wide strip that then covers the whole backyard. So you don't see that easement actually extends on the entire adjacent property off Sarsonstone. And that retention ponds that's there, I also sent the as-built information to Ben just to have him give a quick look over. And he agreed, it didn't appear like it would be influencing this project in our INVAD. Didn't where that outlet would come out on the recent ANRAD that we had, kind of showed that flow didn't continue, that the existing kind of stream in there is coming from that ecosystem property. So I didn't include anything specific to that drainage here because it appeared to be town or impacting kind of this project, at least from what we can see at this time. So I just wanted to make that clear because I know that's come up a couple of times lately with residents and abutters.
So what triggered a thought for me was, so I live in the neighborhood, but I'm not an abutter. I'm actually the furthest house away from that whole area. But behind South Sarsonstone, in a home that used to be owned by somebody, the Lunders, who have since sold and moved for some time now, there is a detention basin back there. And that detention basin has never been maintained, as far as I'm aware. It's got trees in it. I'm not sure where that water goes anymore.
Looking at aerials, it looks like it stayed pretty dry consistently too. I obviously haven't put my eyes on it. I couldn't quite find who would have been ultimately responsible. It didn't seem like the town accepted the drainage, but there wasn't any HOA. There wasn't anything referenced on any of the deeds that the easements are on. And there wasn't anything in the subdivision decision or covenant that kind of mandated the maintenance or who would be responsible for it. Yeah. So that's kind of where I got a little bit stuck on the maintenance side of it. I know Karina was, the town planner was looking for me for a little bit, but it seemed like everything that we found was just completely silent on the stormwater aspect of it. But we did find the as-built for that retention basin. It's not really meant to hold very much water, it looked like. So, it's not a cause of concern for mosquitoes or anything like that either, especially looking at aerials. It does look, I think, like Mark said, pretty overgrown and dry for the most part. I'm sure it gets wet and holds water, no doubt about that at points.
Well, I mean, years and years and years ago, I'm talking about, early 90s, it would get enough water in it that it would freeze over and the kids would skate on it. Mm-hmm. That's a long time ago. So I don't know now. I think it's got, 8-inch trees in it kind of thing. I haven't, walked by it and looked at it, but, it is there though.
Yeah.
A depression with stuff growing out of it.
Yeah.
So that's down. What's the name? Something Stone?
Sarson Stone.
So if you go to Sarson Stone,
down at the bottom of the hill there or something?
Kind of the low spot before it starts to rise again. Right. On the right side.
Yep.
Right. So it kind of goes in, it drops a little bit, then it starts to rise. The lowest spot there, it's out in the back behind the houses in the woods.
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that road was that long.
Oh, it goes all the way up behind Eagle Leasing.
Right. David Eagle used to live up there, huh?
That's right. Yeah, he had the last house on the right on the cul-de-sac, right next to the Eagle Leasing commercial property. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Could walk to work.
Yeah, he could walk to work. Yeah. I don't know that he did, but he could. And then you can walk through the woods there on the left side to get to Deerfoot.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Are there any other? So both.
No, I'm just saying. I don't know if they the proposal is relying on anything with respect to that basin.
It shouldn't. I know that was just a concern. I think the concern of some of the abutters was that I'm not sure if it was confusion or just that it was labeled drainage easement, thinking that is where maybe a pipe came out, but that is not the case. It's actually much farther north than where it's labeled drainage easement. Anywhere that outlet would come out, and I think at this point, the delineation that we have and where that wetland flags were, if it were to be impacting 250, it would have been caught on the INRAD review because it would be in very close proximity to one of the delineated wetlands that we have. So, Joe, or I forget if it was Joe or Matt who did the first one, would have picked that up because look at the whole site.
Okay. All right, but like I said earlier, I thought both 120 and 250 you captured comments, the feedback very, very well.
And Mark, just so you know, I do see a hand up. I'm not sure if you wanted to have that or not.
Hand up. Oh, sure.
John, you should be able to unmute if you.
Hi, I'm John St. Andre. I live at 14 Skylar Drive. And I just wanted to bring you guys up to date with respect to the detention pond that's on the rear of the properties on Sarson Stone. I went out there on July 4th and I took a video after the rains the detention basin was pretty much full, and it was about 200 feet wide. The detention basin discharged onto the Ferris property. There is about 35 feet from the Ferris property, a drainage pipe that discharges the water from that detention basin. I watched it go onto the Ferris property, and it develops into a stream. The stream continues down to the Ferris property. I don't know how far it goes, but it appears to me that it goes all the way probably to Route 9. In 1985 or so, the town, when they took and accepted Sarsen Stone Way as a public way, I believe they also took the drainage easement that comes from Sarsen Stone Way that goes down into the back of the properties on Sarsen Stone and goes up to the Ferris property. So I think the town now has responsibility for that drainage easement and that, and maybe the detention basin. I'm not exactly sure, but looking at aerials of the area with the detention basin isn't going to show you what actually exists. I've been down there, and I have videos of it. It's pretty wet. It's very wet. The mosquitoes are the size of birds. Well, maybe not that big, but anyway, but it's something that you have to go down and see, because the videos that I have, and I can send them to you, show that there's a lot of water back there, a lot of water. So it is a concern. It is a concern for the neighbors, because, you know, what happens if that detention pond overflows? And what happens if the property on the Ferris property doesn't allow that detention pond to go into that property? It does discharge into the Ferris property. I think there was a plan that was submitted by Azimuth with respect to the pre-development drainage systems before the building that they want to put on there is built. And it does show the flow of water from up top from Eagle Leasing down Sarsen Stone Lane, down beside the two neighbors' properties, into the back of the neighbors' properties, onto Ferris property, and all the way out to Route 9, from what I can see. So there is a concern there. So somebody has to address it. And and I know you will, but I just wanted to make sure that I'm kind of like eyes on the ground. And this is what I'm seeing, and I think this is what the neighbors are seeing too. So it's just kind of a flag that goes up. I just wanted to give you an idea of what's back out there. Thank you. Sorry.
Thank you, Mr. St. Andre. So one impediment that we have is we're not allowed yet to go on to the adjacent properties like the neighbors until we have a permit or permission. But certainly my recollection of that detention basin, is that it's rather grown in now. It's interesting that you've got video of it's full and overflowing, or not overflowing, but discharging. It would be interesting to see where that's discharging to as it approaches Parkerville Road. Is it closer to Route 9 or Parkerville Road, or is it going through some of the neighbors that are on Parkerville? Do you know?
You should be allowed to unmute. There we go.
Yeah, I don't have the video. I don't have video of the flow going onto Parkerville Road. I have the video of the flow going from Sarsen Stone onto the neighbor's property, onto the Ferris property on the west. Okay. But I don't have the east.
On the west.
But on the east, you can see on the plans that have been submitted by Azimuth that they do now identify a stream that goes from the on the easterly side of Parkerville Road, under Parkerville Road, and on the easterly side of the residential property into approximately the middle of the residential property. And so there's a stream there, and it on prior plans that I have submitted to the planning board, it showed that there was labeled as a riverine, whatever that is. But there is a flow of water that's identified now on the azimuth plans is a stream coming from the easterly side of the property under Route 9 into the middle of that residential lot. And it's hard to see, but it is there. So, I mean, that's something that needs to be looked at as well. And the other thing, before I forget it, is that on the plans that have been submitted by azimuth with respect to the contractors.
Mark, I just wanna, that public hearing isn't open. I just want to be.
Okay, yeah, all right,
Yeah.
sorry. Yep.
Yep.
All right.
No, I'm just thinking it's good information, given the history of that basin, that we need to, continue our due diligence.
Right,
Right.
right, and I know you will, and I know you will.
Yeah.
But it's just a perspective that the neighbors have that the plans and the aerials don't have. That's all.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for the insight.
Thank you.
We'll definitely, take that under advisement and make sure that we pay our attention to that and do our due diligence. I believe that Melissa has that captured in the comments that we've got going back to the respondent with respect to 40B.
There is one more hand up. Would you like me to allow them to speak?
Yeah, go ahead.
Alex, you should be able to unmute.
Hey, sorry. Yeah, this is Alex Gilman. I actually now live in the Lunders home on 5 Sarsonstone. And Mark, I know you pointed out that you don't have.
You're gone. I don't know what happened?
He's
Do you
unmuted.
hear,
Oh, there.
do you hear me now? Yeah,
Yeah.
I was just saying I live
Yeah.
in the Lunders. We moved in about a year ago, and we're at 5 Sarsonstone. And I just wanted to hand out that permission. I don't know. You mentioned, Mark, that you didn't have permission or a permit to go back there. I have no idea how this all works, but I just wanted to open it up to whenever you want to go back there and take a look, be my guest.
All right. Appreciate that. We just can't go stomping around people's properties and houses at will, right? So
Yep,
it's,
I get that.
we've got to have the right permissions and so forth. And as we get into this further, with respect to the notice of intent, we certainly appreciate you providing any access that we might need. So thank you for that.
Yeah, Alex, if you'd be willing to send me an email, you can find my email on the town's Concom website. That would be useful if you wouldn't mind, just to get in contact in the future.
You got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. All right. So again, in reading through the comments and so forth that you put together in the memo to the 40B request for comments, again, I thought it was very comprehensive and complete, even given the conversation we had tonight. So again, as I thought we were talking for 120 and 250, I think they're both good to go.
All right, awesome. I will get those off to the select board.
All right, thanks. Okay, we're at 7:28. We have a 7:20 public hearing. It's a notice of intent for stormwater management permit 250 Turnpike Road. This is also being continued to 8/24. We'll go ahead and open it up in accordance with the provisions of the South Road Stormwater and Erosion Control Bylaws, South Road General Laws, Chapter 151, Wetlands Protection Act, Mass General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the South Road Wetlands Bylaws. The South Road Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Thursday, August 3rd, 2023 at 7:20 p.m. by a virtual Zoom meeting. The Conservation Commission will consider notice of intent and stormwater management permit for the project located at 250 Turnpike Road, map 27, lot 2A and 46. The project description is construction of a contractor's yard building, addition of driveway access, and maintenance of 2 existing detention basins. And they've asked for continuance to 8/24 next meeting.
Correct. And this is because we just received the Lucas review back. We're waiting for Fessno Neal's comments on stormwater. And we also do not have a DEP number as well for this one.
All right, do we hear a motion to continue?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Zulik,
Yes.
Harrington,
Yes.
Gregory,
Yes.
Passamato.
Yes.
And just as a preference for anyone who is here for 250 Turnpike, if you would like to get on any distribution lists in the future, if we have a non-continuance, feel free to send me an email. And you know, any meetings that we have in this, if we know it's going to be continued, I'd be happy to let you know.
Okay. See, next up is a violation of 38 Presidential Drive, update on progress.
Yeah, so I am a little behind on this one. I was mostly working on those comments and some other issues that have come up. So I have sent the owner a follow-up email. They've been working on the sand, and maybe by next week are going to get me any lists, any plants from our preferred plant list that they, you know, would prefer over than others or would like. I know they, you know, they like kind of their crop producing and things like that. So they're going to send me any that they prefer from there. We're going to work on an actual plan so that the commission and then can have a mutually agreeable plan that we have on the record to kind of monitor compliance on. So that will be on its way.
Okay. Any discussion? No. Okay. All right. And other business is the conservation agent update.
Yes.
So
So
what's been happening with all this water?
we've had a lot of water, you know, thankfully, you know, most of the sites have held up pretty well. The one issue, I think the biggest, not the one, but the biggest issue I think that we've had is on St. Mark's Street. School Street with St. Mark's. So they've been using their back access for, I think, some of their construction entrance for the demo of the fire, old police and fire station. And through that, they had a lot of unstabilization and sediment that came off that backside onto School Street to, I think, 17 or 19 School Street. So the homeowners reached out from that property because their front yard was getting flooded with silty water. Their leach field is out there. So I reached out to St. Mark's and their contractors that they've been using, and they swept up the road, shoveled up the road in some places, actually where the sediment was, reinstalled some construction entrance and erosion controls, and you know, have been keeping a better eye on it. I think they're working now on doing a little bit more seeding stabilization around those sloped areas, around the curbing. They had a silt fence that I think some of the water was just getting detained behind of, and kind of, if anyone remembers, the Stonebrook in the corner of Oregon and Stonebrook, where that water would funnel behind this silt fence, build up, and then the silt fence would collapse. And all that silty water that had kind of been detained behind the silt fence was spilling out. And that's essentially what was happening on School Street. So St. Mark's was very responsive. They fixed both the Main Street side and the school side. So I'm going to continue to monitor that when we get a little bit more rain these next couple of days. So keeping an eye on that. But otherwise, you know, there was kind of the usual, just kind of general upkeep of erosion controls and some reestablishment of construction entrances on the Deerfoot one, and I'm blanking on the other one. Lorenzo did pretty well. And we don't have too many open sites. So that was kind of a plus with all this rain that's been having. A lot of the sites that are being constructed right now are closer to finishing than starting. So that kind of saved us a little bit. But St. Mark's is, I think, the biggest one that we're working on still. That's really all that there is for that one.
Okay. Yeah, I saw your note on it. I think there was some neighbor impact with quite a bit of water. Yeah.
A lot of water. Yeah. So concern, especially with the septic out front, just making sure that doesn't get impacted as well.
Yeah. Right. Got it. Yeah. I actually am, you know, surprised that we haven't had more, given all the rain that we had and flooding around the state and so forth. We had more issues. So.
Yeah, I think I think it helped at the level at which a lot of our sites are at, near completion. A lot of grass is already there,
Yeah,
or pavement. We have a lot of redevelopment still, so a lot of sites are already paved. So there's not a lot of open dirt.
yeah. Got lucky. And let me see, Breakneck Hill.
Breakneck Hill, we are just about to finish those bid specs and send them off to the select board office to put the bid together and finally post it. So Stewardship I asked Stewardship to go over a couple last minute items after talking with the engineer last week. They nicely provided me with that. I had to sit down with Joyce as well, the chair, again, to further clarify some areas, make sure we're on the same page. So we are right on track in the background. The engineers are working on, the new notice of intent, the NIPD's permit, etc. So all those permits will need for, literally being ready once we choose a contractor to get started. So very happy with the progress. It seems slow, but in reality, we have all of the legwork done, so we can hit the ground running within our required timeframe from DEP. The downside is because we have this very strict timeline, the final conditions of it is still, kind of iffy on what it's going to be. It's not going to be perfect, but we chose kind of at least a seed mix that could be a cover crop until the time that Stewardship, has a better idea of what they want to do with the area, and that would meet the requirements for stabilization for Concom. So we're on the right path, and I'm excited to really see some difficult progress on this finally.
All right, good. Good. All right. Thanks for the update there. All right. Any other business?
I don't think so. I think, we're passing over 84 Main. I know we kind of briefly touched on it, but until we get kind of more commissioners back in. But I did send out the preliminary, possible mitigation projects, which I pulled partly from our open space and rec plan, master plan, kind of those aspects as well. So some of them seem very random, perhaps, but they're actually goals that either we're a partner or responsible party for within those plans. And I did highlight a project at the community gardens for ADA accessibility. That's kind of a high priority on my list, because I know that the accessibility committee has been pushing hard on making sure that those things have been implemented from our ADA assessment. So that needs to be done sooner rather than later. So I highlighted that as a high priority. But that's it.
Okay. Any other discussion items, topics from other commission members? No?
I don't know.
All right. So I hear a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Gulick,
Yes.
Barrington. Oh, sorry. I didn't hear you, Kevin. Barrington.
His noise canceling headphones
Yeah,
are noise
can't hear
canceling his
him.
voice.
Muted, but I can't hear you. Okay.
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 I can see your lips moving, but I can't hear you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. All right. Pasmato.
Yes.
That'd be bad if we couldn't get our majority German vote. We got it. All right. Good. Thank you. I will.
All right. Thanks all.
Bye, guys.
Yep, have a good night. Yeah. Bye.